Hey, Katrina here from Scrappy Horses, and welcome to another Weird Wacky Wonderings for the month of October. We're looking at Halloween projects on my YouTube channel, and today we're looking at this ghoulishly good chocolate bar with this bat from Stinkin Cute Images. It's a pre-colored one, very easy to work with, and we're going to have great fun today. Hey, first we're going to talk about how we can turn cut lines into score lines. So let's head on over to Cricut Design Space and start that. So here we are in Design Space, and I have already imported my Stinkin Cute Bats and his candy bar. And I've already imported some bags, and these bags, this bag image is from my stash. You'll see that it is a two-piece bag that will fit together like so. It'll just fit together and wrap around, and I'll show you how to assemble that later in the video. Now, what I want to show you here is that this bag comes in with cut lines. They are grouped with the image, however, they are not adhered or attached or flattened. Okay, so let's go over and take a look at this for just a second. First off, when I brought this in, it was just a plain gray bag. I went ahead and I put in a fill here, and I did a print. Pulled in the print that I wanted to use by picking a pattern. I picked this orange stripe because I thought that would be fun. And there it is. Okay, so that's how I got that. So these lines right here came in as cut lines. And I don't want them to be cut lines. And you can see over here it says cut. Cut, cut. All of these lines are cut lines, but I'd rather have them scored, okay? And you can see here that all of these lines are score lines. So I want to show you how I changed that, okay? It's very simple to do. All you need to do is come in and left click that cut, come over to line type here at the top, and hit score. Left click cut, score. Left click over in this column again. You have to do each one. Score. 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 Now, each one of these lines is now a score line, and they will not cut, they will now just score. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to bring my bat image from Stinkin Cute, and he is Stinkin Cute, and I want to bring him over and place him on this bag. I want him to print on the bag. So the first thing I'm going to do is ungroup these score lines. So up right over here, it says ungroup. I ungroup, and I'm going to pull this away. I'm going to select all of these lines, and I'm going to make sure that they are grouped together so that they don't come apart. And they are grouped. See here it says ungroup. So I know they're already grouped. So I know that I can move that as one piece now. I'm going to move my bag back here. I'm going to bring in my little bat here. First, I'm going to move him to the front. I can do that by right-clicking, send to the front, and I'm going to bring him right in here. Now, I can bring this back, set it in place, just to make sure that I have him where I want him, because I want him inside those lines. This purple piece, I'm going to move it to the front, is going to be a border up along the top. So I'm just going to place that here for just a minute so I know how high up I want him. I'm going to remove this purple piece. I'm going to remove my score lines. I'm going to left click and drag over the bag and the little Stinkin Cute bat. There he is. And I am going to flatten. He is going to print on there. As well as I have this piece over here that is going to pop up on top in different dimensions. And I'll show you that later in the video when we assemble the bag. So now I'm going to bring this back in, move it to the front. These are my score lines. Carefully position them right where I want those score lines to go. Okay. And now I'm going to select the score lines and the bag, and I'm going to attach. It is very important that you attach this, or else it will be a separate sheet when you print. It will just score white cardstock. So you want to make sure that it's where you want it. Okay? And that's how simple it is, my friends. It's no tougher than that. So we've got this all set up. I'm going to go ahead and cut these pieces, and I'll see you over at the craft table, and I'll show you how we're going to assemble this bag. So here we are with all of our cut pieces. Here's the bag back, the bag front with the printed bat. Here are the little bat pieces I told you about that we cut in Cricut Design Space. And we have the pieces that we're going to use for the border along the top. I have some black memento ink, some adhesives. I did not end up using my pen gluer. I did use fabric tack and double-sided tape. So here we are. We're just going to ink up all of our pieces. I just want to get rid of any white edges on them. I like to work on a glass mat. It's just from a picture frame. It's just a sheet of glass. That way it cleans up really quickly and easily. And here I am showing you that even using this black memento ink, it cleans up really quickly with hand sanitizer. I also clean up my hands as much as possible so that when I bring in my bag, I don't smear black ink all over. So moving on, I have this, the bag front and back, and although it's already scored by the Cricut, I'm going to go ahead and score it again with by hand. I'm using a bone folder here to score. I used a black Sharpie and just marked right down my 6-inch line on my scoreboard. That way I just know exactly where that is, and when I bring in pieces like this, I just line them up with that 6-inch. And it's really easy to see where I'm going and I don't get off track. Now on this particular piece, there is a little score in the middle of the sides of the bag that only go about 80% of the way down. And then it comes up and makes a triangle. And that's really hard to score. I'm just putting in those marks where those are going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the back. And now I'm coming in, folding those edges and burnishing to get a nice crisp fold on those edges. I find the crisper the folds are, the boxes just go together more easily. They fit together nicely. So I try to get them just as crisp and clean as I can. This is the tab where I'm going to be putting my double-sided tape and my glue so that it can wrap around and adhere to the other side of the box. I'm going to go ahead and do this to the front and the back. I will be putting 2 little pieces of tape on each tab and then again putting glue on. Those of you who watch my videos on a regular basis know that I oftentimes use double-sided tape in conjunction with the fabric tack glue. It gives me wiggle room to move things, but once I press it down, then that double-sided tape really holds quickly, even though the glue is already there. But until I really push it down, I have a lot of wiggle room with that glue. It will slide and I can move things. When I'm assembling boxes and bags, I really like that wiggle room because sometimes I don't get things as straight as I like, and that way I know I'm going to put it where it needs to be, and I have the luxury of moving it around if I didn't get it positioned correctly. So you can see here I'm just putting a little bit of glue right over that double-sided tape and just sort of positioning that into place and then pushing it down nice and tight so it grips. Now we're going to fold in the bottom edges of this box and again pull off the backing on that double-sided tape and a little glue here. And this gets a little tricky. It doesn't want to hold real well. So what I decided I wanted to do was, once I got it in position, I wanted to cut a little piece of cereal box. And you can see here I'm sort of eyeball measuring here. I didn't really measure with a ruler. I just sort of marked with a pencil where I thought it would be. And I'm going to lay this into the bottom of this box. Now that's going to give it stability. Now you'll notice that inside that little bag box, I had a stamping block. I had that stamping block in there just to hold that flap down so it would really adhere while I was cutting this piece. Now I'm going to adhere this little piece into the bag, the bottom of the bag, and that's going to keep that all put together nicely and give it just a little more support in the bottom of the bag in case the candy or the goodies get too heavy in there. That would be a scary moment to lose candy out of our bag. We don't want that to happen. I'm simply pushing in those side folds now so that we get those into the bag. Now it's time to make our little bat three-dimensional. This is really easy to do because we already pre-printed him onto the bag. So this gives us placement for every little piece we cut. I'm placing the wings directly onto the bag. I'm not using any dimension for that part. I am, however, starting to add dimension with his body because his little body is laying in front of the wings. So I'm cutting some little strips of cereal box and I'm just going to glue those right onto the back of his little legs and his little body, and then we'll glue that directly onto the bag. Now this will just give him a really thin layer of dimension, and that gives us room to build up more dimension for the pieces that we want to put on top. So slowly but surely we're going to build up to some pretty good dimension. So now we're just going to smear a little bit of glue onto the back of those cereal box pieces. And we're going to just glue that right on top. And already you can start to see we have a little bit of dimension. Now we're bringing in that ghoulishly good chocolate. Oh, I think chocolate is the best. You know, it would be fun. Tell me in the comments below, what is your favorite Halloween candy? Is it chocolate? And if so, which one is it? Which chocolate bar is it? Personally, I like a good Snickers bar at Halloween, or a Three Musketeers, or I could go for a Reese's cup. Any of those would be great. Now, I wouldn't turn down Starburst either. Those are a lot of fun too. All right, well, back to the bag. Here I'm just putting his little hands over that chocolate bar because we don't want that chocolate bar to fall off. So we want him to have a good grip on that. So I'm putting his little hands on there. And we're just going to put a little glue on the back there, squish it around, and just lay that right on top of his body, which again, that's going to overhang onto the wings and give us more dimension. Now I want even more dimension for his head. So I've gone in and gotten some 3M dimensional tape, and I tried 2 layers, and I don't know, I need one more. Yeah, one more layer, I think. So let's get a 3rd layer on there. And basically you just keep ripping off the backs and putting them on. And let's see. Yes, I like 3. I like 3 layers. That gives him a lot of dimension. Gives his head a lot of pop off that bag. And I like that. Now we're just going to secure his little head down and make sure it's going to stay on there. And we're going to move on now to those borders that are going to go around the top of the bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lay it down, lining it up there at the front. And I'm going to just crease it in with the bag so that those creases fit exactly. Now there are bag cuts out there that come with borders. This one did not. So I figured out, hey, it's not that hard. I can just kind of eyeball this and make it. And so that's what I've done. I'm just kind of inking up my pieces and placing them onto the box. Once I know where I want those folds to fit in, and I know that the 2 pieces are going to fit together around the front and back, then I can just come in and glue those border pieces in. Nothing too hard. I didn't use any double-side tape, just glue. Here I'm inking the back piece, and I will glue that in. And I did leave my tabs open on the front so I could wrap those around. So I'm just fitting them in there. And the front will just overlay then the back there, like so. This glue is really nice on the glitter paper. It tends to hold really well. I decided it would be fun to add a little black and white polka dot bow up here and cut the tails of that with a pair of pinking shears. So I thought that just added a little something to it. Hey, I'm so happy you joined me today. It's always great to have visitors here at Scrappy Horses. If you enjoy my videos, I invite you to subscribe. I have one more Halloween video left, and then we're going to be moving on into November with some special videos. So I hope you'll subscribe and join me for those. See you in the next video.